Councillor Gatward is coming. She's late. She's attending an impaired and distracted drivers recognition event. So she'll be here as soon as she can be here. The other two are away on vacation, I believe. Approval of the agenda, please. Councillor House, seconded by Councillor Wheat. All those in favor? Thank you. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Councillor Miller.
I was going to add something under other business before
Okay.
we approve the agenda.
Okay. All right. Councillor Miller, you're first. Do you want to say what it is or just leave it?
I'm just going to touch on SWIFT,
Okay.
and that'll be literally 60 seconds.
And Councillor Wheat?
Yes, I have two items, good news stories, both sports related.
Thank you. You can fill us in on the details when we get to you.
Yeah, boy. Only take me 15 seconds.
Pecuniary interest, anything to be declared? Do it now. Thank you. Delegations. Laura Jane Charlton. Want to come to the podium, please? Can you come to the podium? Sure.
Councillor House, can we just put just put it between, yeah.
Yes, oh yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for your vote.
Thank you. Sorry to hold everybody up. I know this is a tight time frame, and we've got 10 minutes. Thank you very much for putting forward this idea for us to come. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to appear tonight. We are, am I still speaking into that? Okay. We are some of the executive of the Senior Federal Liberal Club. We have Joe Dunlop back behind me, Jamie Creek, and Kathy Crow. Thank you. This is great that Kathy could join us tonight. On Thursday, March the 28th, 2 days from now, we are going to have a focus forum entitled Greening Your Life. It will be held at St. James Anglican Church in Brantford. There will be 4 presentations discussing ways to recycle, reuse, repurpose, and dispose appropriately of everyday items. Jamie, I had all my people involved in all of this, so now you've changed my presentation, but that's okay. Jamie is looking after the person from Brantford, who's Steve Clark, and he's an on-site supervisor of metal recycling. He's got a very exciting program for us. We ran this program back in October, and because there's been such a hue and cry from the people over there who knew about it, said, please do it again. So this is a rerun. So these 4 speakers that are coming, they know that it's a rerun, and they really enhanced their programs and added more to it. Steve Clark, when he comes to do metal recycling, he's now bringing in some materials to share with us on what that involves and the job allocations that come out of it, and also the revenue that you and I can generate from recycling our metal. So it's really interesting. Every metal has a different price to it, and he weighs it all out, and he gives you in cash what your metal is worth. So it's a great way to recycle instead of throwing them out in the garbage. So that's Steve Howe. I'll just go down the list. You do have, I see the brochure. Thank you very much, Heather, for sending that out. And on the back of the brochure, and I will give you some tonight if you're interested in more information. But the next person is Matt DeHont, one of the employers here. And he comes up and he speaks about solid waste and what to do with solid and liquid waste, and how the recycling is going to happen through Emterra, and also what the plans are for Emterra down the road. So that's really important to people of Brant, that they know, okay, what is happening right here in town with the waste disposal that goes out every Tuesday, well, for me, every Tuesday. So that's a really good program that he offers us, and it's going to be exciting to hear what new things are now in the last 6 months are coming forward through Emterra, the recycling program and the garbage program that we have here in town and in the county. The next person is Barry Orr, and his is sewer outreach and control inspection. We have in the middle of your brochure, we have a little picture we hope that is going to attract a lot of attention. It's toilets are not garbage cans. They're only for pee, poo, and toilet paper. And so that needs to get out because so many things are going down people's toilets and people's drains. He will also talk about the sewers, or what goes down your kitchen drain, and how that impacts the sewers and keeping the sewers clean and free. And we know that we always have problems keeping the sewers clean, especially in the fall when we've got all the leaves around and everything else. But he has a program, and it's out in a lot of different counties and cities that he has gone and spoke to. He's been on CBC speaking about this. He's on TED Talk speaking about this. So it's out there. And what do you do with your fat that you collect in pans after you've cooked your bacon or whatever else you've cooked? How do you dispose of that rather than pouring it down the drain, like happens in a lot of places? So he talks a lot about that, and some other ways that we have of things that we get rid of in our homes and other alternatives for those things. And then what happens to that fat? What happens to all these other things that they're involved in? So again, it's a recycling program, but we're not just leaving it, putting it there. We're letting you know what happens to these things. And the last person is Paula, and she's from Crossing All Bridges. They have a program there where anybody, any company, any individual can take whatever they want recycled. It's locked up under lock and key, so nobody can see if they're private things that you don't want anybody to take any information from. So everything is kept under lock and key, and then it's put through a recycling program that's very well controlled, so nobody gets injured, and it's employment for those children who can't possibly have a job elsewhere. So this not only recycles the things that we need to get rid of, legal documents, you name it, but it becomes a job for these people, and they're employed and they get a salary. So it's a dual purpose sort of thing. So those are the speakers that we're having on this coming Thursday for a rerun of that. It's the St. James Anglican Church on Dublin Street. If you're not knowing where that is, it's in Brantford. If you don't know where the church is. Let me see, what else did I have? So we'd just like to invite everybody to come to our presentation, ask questions. The people are very, very approachable. We'll have refreshments and we'll have door prizes. And the door prizes, of course, will have to be biodegradable and have to be recyclable. So that's the presentation for tonight. Is there anything, people, that I have left out?
It's 6:30 p.m.
Thank you very much. Yes, the doors open at St. James Anglican Church at 6 o'clock so that everybody can get in and the speakers can get their materials in. And then the presentations start at 6:30 and go till 8:30-ish, because we always tend to go over. There's so many questions and things to be responded to. And yes, and there will be refreshments and the door prizes, as I mentioned. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions to the delegation? If not, thank you for coming, and good luck with the program. We're all a friend of Paula Tomlinson.
Oh,
She's,
some of these people, yes, and Matt,
Yeah.
you'll know.
She has a great shredding program going.
Thank you very much. That's
She
good.
does.
We'll pass that on to her.
Thank you for coming in.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Jennifer and Rick? Do you want to come up? We're not rushing you. Take your time. There's an extra seat there. You could stay there if you liked. There you go. All right. Could you give us your name and your address, please?
Okay. Rick Esselmut, 521 Cockshut Road, Brant County, Ontario.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the presentation that I'm giving on behalf of my wife Jennifer and I is in regards to the bylaw for the signage bylaw amendment, bylaw number 2819. And respectfully, thank you for letting us do the presentation. Noting that our concerns as parents are related to road safety on the Cockshut Road in front of our property there. Jennifer has been involved in the process, and I just recently have become involved in the process to review how the signage location and its type would be impacted by its non-compliance with the existing signage bylaw. And the recommendation that was put forward from staff and that was reviewed at the committee relating to the signage, we don't feel took into consideration our concerns about road safety and distracted driving as it relates to this billboard sign. Our concerns, and respectfully, I see that the property owners are here. I haven't met them. For all accounts, are upstanding citizens of the county and are wonderful people. This presentation is more about the consideration of not necessarily the type of sign or what it may advertise, but about the concern that it could lead to a distraction on a portion of road in Brant County that is challenging for safety as it is, because the speed limit and its location for commuter traffic and traffic on long weekends, it's a very busy section of road. And the driveway for our property, which is the only residential property within close to 500 meters of that sign, the sign is directly across from the driveway for this residence. And the concern is that you can't see this billboard sign until you're within about 100 feet of it, which would mean that you're looking at the sign, and signs are designed for people to look at, and we respect that, but you wouldn't be looking at the sign until you're approaching traffic, like right at our driveway. And the location for the driveway is, and the location for the sign is our primary concern, not that it's a billboard, not that it's contravenes the bylaw, not that it was constructed without a permit, but more that its location needs to take into consideration the safety rules around why billboards have specific setbacks. And we don't feel that necessarily was articulated as well as it could have been, that Ministry of Transportation rules around billboards are that they have jurisdiction on any billboard within 400 meters of a provincial highway. So what we wanted to learn was, why is that the case? Why does MTO have safety-related rules for distracted driving around billboards? And the concern that they have is the setback distance, is the sight lines. Not that it would block your view of traffic, but that it would take your immediate attention away from other traffic-related items in the general location of the sign. So what we'd be asking for or recommending would be that the bylaw amendment would move forward with the billboard being allowed, that its content is of none of our concern, but that its location meet the existing billboard requirements, that the setback distance to the property line be respected, or at the very least a rationale for why the safety factors of that setback distance are not being considered. Because in the report that we saw, it was simply put that the setback distance should be, or ideally would be, 1 meter and 10 meters from a driveway. And that was the recommendation from staff, but we see that it's being proposed to stay in the exact same location. And our concerns around safety, we feel, should have equal weight to the convenience of leaving the sign where it is, or the convenience of the agricultural equipment moving around this billboard sign. There are other positions on this property that the sign could be relocated to. And if there's a cost associated with relocation, I personally would be very willing to pay to have it moved, but I think the safety consideration around its location is paramount for us. We've had family that have passed, been killed in distracted driving, so it hits really close to home. for us. Our kids get on the school bus twice a day, right in front of that sign, and we need people to be paying attention. And we just feel that a sign of any description of what it's advertising in that exact location is a big safety concern for our family. So that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions to the presenter? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
The Westbrooks. Yeah, could you give us your full name and where you live, please?
Well, Honorable Mayor and elected councilors, my full name? Yeah. It's Ted Westbrook,
Where do you hang out?
Edward
Where do you live?
Ted for short, by
Yeah.
Edward. Yeah. And it's my wife Diane.
593 concession two.
Oh, okay, 593 Concession 2 is our home location.
Thank you.
And my wife Diane, my son Dan, would like to speak. We will touch on the location, but I thought maybe you would like to know why I decided to put this sign up. I have a few reasons to support the Oswego Speedway. It's one of the best fundraisers that the local schools have. The tickets that are sold at schools, they keep half of it, only half of it is sent to the Speedway. It's one of their best fundraisers they have. They have a very active kids club. Last year, they gave away approximately 74 bicycles, backpacks to all the kids in the kids club. They have like a fan appreciation night, so all the kids can meet the drivers, sit in the car, have their pictures taken by their parents or grandparents, and I think it's one of the best family entertainment facilities there is. There's no alcohol. You go to a lot of other sports, Blue Jay game, there's alcohol. Maple Leaf games, there's alcohol. There's no alcohol at all. There's no smoking. And now about the sign, it was looked into for at least 4.5 years at the placement of the sign. Where is the best location? And it's far enough away from the corner, well back to the corner, from the residence to the east. It's way back. It's the best location possible. It's the best location in our field. It doesn't distract or take anything away from the cropping area, the way farming is done. You have a headland, the corner from each field, that's where the sign is. It's the proper distance from the road. It's proper size for a sign or a billboard. And it was built to the engineer's standards. So I don't know what else we can do. So in closing, I guess, I'd like to honor the planning committee and honor the decision that they had made. And that's pretty well all. I think my son has a little bit to raise. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mayor, Council, Dan Westbrook, live at 231 Oakland Road. As an active member in the community, as a firefighter for over 23 years, I can assure the Esselmans that their children are at minimal risk of a distracted driver from the sign when boarding and exiting the bus, as I have not been called to assist in such an event as a firefighter. Thank you.
That's the end of your presentation? Are there any questions to the presenters?
Oh, okay, I have one.
All right,
My name's Diane Westbrook. I live at 593 Concession 2, Route 1, Scotland. The only thing, they keep saying about the MTO. The sign placement is on a county road, which is County Road 4, also known as the Cockshut Road. Thank you.
thank you. Any questions to the presenters? If not, we'll move on to 4D, Victoria Neal / Demonchuk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors. Today, I'm Victoria Neal, and I reside at 591 Paris Road. I'm also a realtor with RE/MAX here in the city, so I have two legitimate concerns, but I am here also representing Bob and Marilyn Purvis, who are my neighbors directly, and the other neighbors that could not be here tonight. We have a huge concern with the building traffic in our section of Paris Road. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, if you are on Governor's Road and Dundas, where they meet, where the Tim Hortons is, there are heading east towards Brantford on Paris Road. There is a section of about a half a mile, just over 2 kilometers, of 29 houses and 6 businesses, not including the little mall that has the granite and the car place on the corner of Oak Park. I personally have called the OPP in the 4.5, almost 5 years of living there. I can't tell you how many numbers of times I've called for observation or radar for the traffic. We have cars that go in excess of 100 kilometers an hour in that section, which is 60 kilometers an hour. We have 5 signs posted when you're heading west from Oak Park into Governor's Road, or we have 2 signs posting the speed when you are heading, west? If you're heading east into Brantford, there are 2 signs that say 60 kilometers an hour. It is just not adhered to. I am consistently seeing cars merging from Dundas onto Paris Road. They do not pay attention to the yield, constantly cutting vehicles off. We are at the crest of the hill as it starts to go down, and you cannot see. So if Bob and Marilyn are coming out of our driveway, they are east to us. If they're coming out, they cannot see the cars that are at the top of that hill. So there's a huge concern for speed here. We have grandkids, we have kids, we have pets, and I'm asking if something can be done where it's paid attention to. On Grand River Street, just up at the top close to the school, you've got one of those signs that tell you to slow down, flashing you're going over 50. Perhaps we could have something like that for a while so people can pay attention to the speed limit. Last night I clocked an OPP officer. He must have been going 130 past our house because of an emergency. If I had been trying to get out of my driveway and didn't catch him, there would have been a fatality. So we're just trying to get some attention somehow to have this either speed limit drop to 50, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Once you get to Oak Park and you move east further, you're going to hit an 80-kilometer zone. So I don't know what to suggest, but I'm asking for assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions to the presenter? Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the presenter. If I recall correctly, that stretch of road once was an 80-kilometer limit?
Bob and Marilyn, maybe you could tell, was it 80 where we are? Yeah, it was. So it's been brought down to 60.
So my question to you, did you notice any difference when you went from 80 to 60?
I wasn't there when it was 80. So, Bob, was there any difference? Did you notice people slowing down at all? No. No. Yeah, it's a huge concern, I assure you. If there's 10 vehicles, 7 of them are speeding. It's not something that's taken lightly anymore. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Victoria. Quick question. When you called the police, I think maybe I missed this, but what was their response? Did they come out or not? And if they did, was there any effect?
Well, I got to the point where I was joking with the dispatcher, basically just saying, I'm calling again from 591 Paris Road, and I'd like an officer parked for radar, please. There's a lot of heavy traffic today. Everybody is speeding, and it would be great revenue for the county, I assure you. Great revenue. But I have asked, and two times only, have they ever sent an officer out. Within the first probably 4 minutes of him sitting there, he had pulled over 2 people. So it's definitely there, but the response, it's just not like it should be. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your presentation. Councillor Wheat.
Well, for me, it's an honor to represent the Paris Curling Club tonight. I got a phone call this afternoon from Jason Vernoy that they have a presentation for us. If you will recall, at budget time, we gave them a large amount of money to promote the provincial curling championship for under 18, both male and female. It attracted 64 players to our municipality, plus mom and dad. They were here basically for 6 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They've taken a picture of all the participants. There's a letter that Heather copied that I got today. It's on your desk. You can read it. I don't need to highlight it. But for the people in the audience, it attracted a lot of people to our community. The Curling Club, this was their 175th anniversary. It's one of the oldest curling clubs in the province of Ontario. The winners of this will go on to Alberta next month to compete for the Canadian Championship. It was quite an honor for this municipality and the Paris Curling Club to attract it. It took 3 years to put it together, make their presentation, that we had the ability here to host it. Is there a member of council, and I'm sorry I don't know who that is a member of our Economic Development Committee? Steve, would you come up and accept this, please? And on top of that, the Curling Club pointed out that our economic development, led by Allison Newton and Russ Press, did an excellent job of promoting this event. There was signs everywhere. I was very fortunate all my life to be a member of the Curling Club since it moved from the Sillaps up to the new building at the fairgrounds. And on Saturday, for the opening ceremonies, you couldn't get in the building. There was that many people. It was wall-to-wall people. Most people, comments that I heard, really love this little town, and they'll be back. They supported our restaurants and did little tours and walking around town. We were blessed with excellent weather, and it was just a great 6 days for this municipality. And on the closing banquet of that night, I was asked to represent the county and present the awards. And the boys were from Coldwater, and their skip is deaf. He's electronically equipped so that you can hear. That was a real, I thought really something for a youngster 18 years old to be deaf, electronically equipped, and still participate in a sporting event and win a provincial championship. And the girls that were here, the ladies, were from down in Eastern Ontario, and they just loved this little town. And it was great promotion for the town of Paris and the county of Brant. Any of you that haven't been up to the Curling Club, it's still going to be open for another 2 weeks. Drop in. It was on TV, on CTV this winter. They put 2 ice surfaces outside, and weather really cooperated. We didn't have any snow, it was clear and cold, and we had outdoor curling just like in the old days. It started here in Paris on the Nith River in the wintertime, and a long time ago, if you look through the archives at the Curling Club, you'll see a couple rocks that were found at the bottom of the Nith River by somebody and donated to the Paris Curling Club. So Steve, if you could accept this on behalf of the Economic Development Committee,
Absolutely.
the Curling Club would certainly appreciate it. They're playing tonight, that's why they're not here, and they asked me as a past president to do this.
Okay. Thanks, John.
You look after that.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Wheat. Okay, what are we going to do with the delegations? First one, Greening Your Life. Councillor Miller,
Move to receive.
seconded. Councillor Coleman. All those in favor? Okay. What are we going to do with the report? B. Councillor Chambers.
I will move that delegations B and C be referred to the planning committee report, where I don't know what they were talking about this week.
Seeking a seconder. Councillor Bell. All those in favor? Thank you. And E, D. Councillor House.
I'd like to speak to it for a second, and then I will make a motion. To the delegation, your timing is very good in that the speed control in the County of Brant is a very important topic right now. We are in the midst of studying methods to control speed within the County of Brant. We're looking at a 3-step approach involving education, engineering, and enforcement, which covers all of the things that you were referencing. And we had a fair amount of money in the 2019 budget to go specifically towards speed control. We, at the budget time, we increased that amount of money by 50% because we knew it was important. So this is timely. We are happy to add this section of road as one of the hot areas that needs to be looked at, and I move that this information is submitted to the OPP via the Police Services Board.
Thank you. Seeking a seconder. Councillor Coleman. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Can I get someone to receive E, Councillor Wheat's report as information? Councillor Bell, seeking a seconder. Councillor McAlpine, discussion. All those in favor? Thank you. Moving on to number 5, adoption of the minutes from the previous meetings. Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Miller, the approval of the previous minutes from the previous meetings at the County of Brant Council minutes of February 19, 2019 and March 11, 2019 be approved.
All those, any questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Any business arising from the minutes? Consent items to be approved. Councillor Wheat.
Yes, it's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor House that the consent item 7A be approved. It is written, and I don't think I need to read to you. You can read it yourselves. It concerns the $75,000, the cost to repair the elevator at the library here in Paris.
Any? Let's see.
And it's to be taken out of reserves. Anyone with any questions, I'll attempt to answer them. And if I can't, Chris Scribner's here, and she will help me. But $75,000, need to fix the elevator. It's coming out of library reserves and our own reserves.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Wheat? You have a seconder?
Yes.
All
Councillor
those in-
House.
All those in favor? Thank you. Councillor McAlpine?
Okay, 7B, the following consent items to be received as information, 1 through 16. And it was moved by myself and seconded by Robert Chambers.
Councillor Miller.
I just wanted to speak to 7B 4 regarding the letter from Minister McNaughton on the natural gas, and it's one of those nice letters where they said thank you, but no thank you. And I understand, yeah, they've got a program, they're coming out with Access to Natural Gas Act 2018. And they said the specific requirements have not yet been determined. Okay. But I do know that there's a bunch of communities in Ontario, around the Kincardine area, that are getting natural gas. That's a huge area without natural gas. So I'm just wondering, I guess what I'm saying is maybe we keep this Brant Center for a while when the program is, the details are known, because it sounds like it'll be up to us maybe to apply or whatnot. So I just wanted to, again, put that in everybody's mind for now, so we don't forget about it.
Okay, anything else you want pulled out of that package? All those in favor? Thank you. Passed. Carried. Consent items that are to be received that are in the folder. Councillor McAlpine, are you doing those too? Those are all finished? Okay, and we'll go right to the committee reports. Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move by myself, second by Councilor Miller, that the Kanesville Community Center Ad Hoc Committee minutes of February 19, 2019 be received for information. There was no recommendations.
Any questions? All those in favor of receiving the report, thank you. Councillor Pierce is in here. Who's going to be doing the report? McAlpine, Councillor McAlpine. Any questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Community Services. Councillor House.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McAlpine, that the Community Services Committee report of March 4th be approved.
Any questions to the committee chair? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. OPP. No, there's no report. Corporate Development, Councillor Chambers? Oh, Councillor Miller, what are you doing standing up?
Just stretching my legs, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to move 80, that the Brant County OPP, moved by myself, second by the mayor, that the Brant County OPP Detachment Committee minutes of March 15, 2019 be received as information.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor
I just want to remind, council that the grand, the official ceremony, groundbreaking ceremony is this Thursday at 1 o'clock. So.
Yeah. So everyone's invited. It's open to the public, so anyone that wants to come to the ground breaking of our new detachment, it is 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
On Thursday. So, thank you for that.
And hopefully everybody knows where.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All those in favor of the report? Thank you. And I missed D, so it's Councillor Wheat.
Moved by myself, seconded by Member Coleman, the Planning Advisory Report of March 5th be approved, noting there are 5 items.
Any questions to Councillor Wheat? All those in favor? Oh, Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it at this point that we discuss the items that were brought by the delegations?
We can.
I thought it was one of the recommendations, and I thought we'd agreed that we would deal with it at that time. I think.
Well, I'm here. You got a question?
Yeah, you can question Councillor Wheat.
No, well, we said we would take account of the 2 delegations that came forward, one which was saying basically, I oppose, the other which says, we support. And I thought we were taking some time to discuss those.
Actually, we Member Bell, we discussed it at the planning committee, and the planning committee report is before you. If you'd like to vote on that separately, I ask you to withdraw number 1, and we'll vote on 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then I'll come back to you.
No, it's my misunderstanding of process, and I apologize.
Anyone else want to speak to Councillor Wheat? All those in favor of accepting his report? Thank you. Corporate Development, Councillor Chambers.
Mr. Mayor, it's moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Miller that the Corporate Development Committee report of March 11th, 2019 be adopted.
Any questions to Councillor Chambers? All those in favor of accepting the report? Thank you. Public Works, who's going to report for Councillor Gatward? Councillor Miller?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Coleman, that the Public Works Committee report of March 12, 2019 be approved, noting that there are 7 recommendations.
Questions to Councillor Miller? But seeing no questions, all those in favor? Thank you. Number H is the Paramedic Services Committee.
Mr. Mayor, sorry, I just want to highlight that item 7 was that a roads tour be arranged for fall of 2019, and that invitation will be extended to all members of council
Right.
or members of the media.
I'm going to move number 8H, the committee report for the Paramedic Services Committee. Is there any questions to the paramedic? No. Councilor Miller?
Not on the recommendations per se, but just on the minutes. 148 of our package. Second page of the minutes. It says, in response to questions, Mr. King, he's Director of Paramedic Services, noted that a private transfer service has been implemented for Brantford patient transfers. When did that, when was that enacted? Like, when did they start doing that? And is it, I assume, but I don't know, that's why I'm asking, is it a cost savings? And is it eligible for the 50% provincial funding?
We'll call Michael Bradley.
And through you, Your Worship, we don't have the answer to that question, but we can certainly find out and have a memo sent to council in the Friday files.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting the report, thank you. Information reports. We're going to go to the clerk, Heather. Number 10A. All right.
Moved by myself, seconded by Bob Chambers, that NA CEO -10 Council Committee Remuneration Attendance Reports.
Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed and carried. 10B, Councillor Howes.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Wheat. Item 10B, the staff report regarding the visit from the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario be received as information.
Are there any questions about the visit? It's going to be a week from Friday. She's coming. And she'll be here that whole morning. And you'll be getting invitations to parts of her visit. So information to follow. All those in favor? Thank you. Carried. Number 10, communications. This is regarding a letter that was sent to the county. It directly involves myself, so I would like to speak to it. Does anyone have any objections to me speaking to it myself? Okay, so this is number 11A on your, in your package. Okay. All right, a motion to receive, please. Counselor House? Thank you. It's now been received. Thank you. All those in favor of receiving it? All right, thank you for keeping me on track, Counselor Wheat. Okay, so this is a letter from Dave Thompson, and just to familiarize yourself with it, he is the man who registered as a third-party candidate in the last election to run against me, to have me declared a racist. And obviously, he didn't get very far in his campaign as I became the mayor. But the minute I became the mayor, if you turn your page over, he filed a complaint to the commission, police commission, trying to have me taken off the police services board as someone who is not worthy of the police services board at any level, as the mayor or the chair, which I was both for a few minutes. I had to resign as the chair when I became the mayor. But he had me investigated. I had to go through a 2-hour interrogation, which was unbelievable that I had to do that. It's unbelievable that somebody can write a letter like this and affect someone's life the way he tried to affect mine. And then there's a new piece of paper that's in your, as an addendum, which is the fact that after my interview, of course, I was declared not to be a racist. Surprise. And I also took a course, a diversity course for them, just because they thought that I should do something to show that I was, I guess, playing their game and or dealing with the situation. So I took a diversity test, and I got 100%. So this is really just something, I could have put all of this just as information and buried it in with all the other papers, but I thought because it affected my life and it was truly a strike against my character during the election. And even now, even after I won the election, he had the nerve to go to another body that I represented and still tried to have those that fake news and that nonsense that he came up with as something that to take me out of another chair that he just wanted me out of for no apparent reason. So this is just to tell you that I did what I was asked to do. I passed the test I was asked to take, and according to the letter, my file has been closed and there's no further action being taken. So unless I do something completely crazy in the next 4 years, I will remain your unracist mayor for 4 years. So thank you. Councillor House.
Can we ask questions?
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, was there a cost to the county for the diversity training that you undertook?
No, there was no cost to anyone. It was something they asked me to do. I did it on my own time, and it didn't cost anyone anything. In fact, I did learn a lot from taking the course, and I would suggest, or I'm going to bring it forward, that all the councillors at this table take the same test. It's very informative, and also senior staff, I want them to take it too. So something good did come out of this, as I'm going to pass on all that information to everyone who needs to know exactly what I learned. So thank you for letting me speak to this. It's not embarrassing at all. It's just a cloud that has now been taken away, and thank you for letting me speak to it. What do you want, just a motion to accept it, Councillor Wheat? It's already been done.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I thought I heard you say this happened after you became elected to mayor. Did you say that?
I said that he filed other complaints against the police commissioner with new charges of me being a racist after I was elected mayor.
Because the letter in front of me, the date is October 9th, and that was before the election.
Well, the other letter that you have, he did file them afterwards, so that's when he got his response. Right. The letter you have in front of you is the response back to Mr. Thompson that they had done the interrogation of me. So whatever date's on that letter is when he received the information that I had been processed. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll gladly move on. 13, resolutions. Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move by myself, second by Council Wheat, that the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, Roma / Ontario Good Roads Association, OGRA, combined conference. And I will take this as presented, then I will speak to it.
Thank you. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question? Question?
Do you have a question?
No, I don't. I want to speak to it.
I have a question.
Okay.
He has a question
Go ahead.
first.
Quick question. I think it's a great idea because I never liked it when they separated. But I'm just wondering where this resolution came from, and are other municipalities also passing the same one or something similar?
Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Councilor Miller. This resolution comes from myself, and the clerk drafted it for me. I couldn't do something like that. You know that.
In other municipalities?
Yes, there was a motion passed at the Good Roads Convention on the Tuesday morning to have this back together as one organization / conference back in February again to make this work again. It worked successfully before until they got internal bickering. So I'm hoping that this can go on to other municipalities and we can get some momentum behind this to get this back in sync for next year again, because it seems to be, it's a waste of time, in my opinion, to have the ministers there doing it all over when you're there 1 month before that. We're all there, some of us were there to do this, so hoping for your support. Thank you.
Yeah, I was also there with Councillor Chambers, and it was a very clear direction they wanted us to take to combine the two events. First of all, it's a huge expense to the county to have all the councillors go to Toronto for 2 or 3 days, actually 3 days and 4 days, to almost hear exactly the same information and visit with the same ministers about the same issues. And it really was probably it was probably 5 weeks apart or something. So it did seem rather expensive. So I am hoping that we do jump on board and support Councillor Coleman's request to move this forward. Any other questions? Call the vote to support the motion. All those in favor? Thank you. New business, Councillor Weech, you had 2 things to speak to?
Yeah, it's good news from the village of St. George and the county of Brant. St. George Midgets are now in the Ontario final. The series is tied 1-1. It's best 3 out of 5. They're in Duro tonight. They'll be back home tomorrow or Thursday night. And if it goes to Game 7, it'll be Sunday afternoon. Also, the St. George Ravens are in the Metro Junior A final playing Ville-Marie, Quebec. They're down 2-0. They lost 5-3 empty net goal and lost 3-1 empty net goal, and they're at home tonight and they're at home tomorrow night and back to Quebec if they can win one at home on Friday. And if they can prolong the series, games 6 and 7 will be in St. George Sunday afternoon and Monday night.
Thank you, Councillor
And
Weech.
baseball starts on Thursday.
Thank you, Councillor Weech. Let it be known that I threw out the ceremonial puck for the opening of that tournament, and I didn't fall. So thank you for that, Jesus. Anything else before we go in camera? Councillor Miller, you had an item for new business.
Yes, I did, Mr. Mayor, and you heard this message yesterday, but I just want to touch on SWIFT, Southwestern Integrated Fiber Technology. They had their AGM. They also had a board meeting, and there was an orientation for new board members last Thursday, Friday, of which I attended on behalf of the county council. And what I learned is that everything that they discussed is in camera, okay? SWIFT's been around. This idea come out of the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus, best idea they ever had, about 5 years. So it would be nice to see something, and we expressed, the new board members for sure, a lot of frustration about, well, what's going on? We want to hear, we want it to be communicated. So they heard that loud and clear. What's been going on is a lot of research. What areas need it, what areas are eligible. They're moving towards what they call a 50-10 standard, 50 megabits downloaded, 10 megabits uploaded. They had to, there's a lot of proprietary information about where the big telecos have their fiber laid. But right now, they're at a very sensitive stage. A lot is riding on what happens April 11th, when the provincial budget comes down. And they're just ready to start issuing some procurement proposals, requests for proposals in the very short term. So the bottom line after all that is we're going to hear a lot more probably, if not next month, the month after that. So just letting you know, there's been a lot of work, a tremendous amount of work, and it was actually encouraging to see. I will say that this board it's a really good board. If you've gone to some of these municipal conferences, you will see board members from Roma, OSUM, AMO, all sitting there at that table. And I think half the guys around there have all the provincial ministers on speed dial. There's a lot of connections there. So anyways, just giving you a brief overview and letting you know that there's going to be a lot, well, hopefully a lot to report in the next month or so.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Miller? No? Seeing nothing else, we'll get the motion to,
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Howard, that Brant County Council convene in camera to discuss a personal matter about an identifiable individual, human resources matter for Brant.
all those in favor? We're now in camera. If I could have the